I made a whole video about how I hate fake wokes because they're psychologically fascist and they're like corrupt priests. They have a corrupt priest strategy where they pretend to be so good and that's why they deserve shit. Um, and it should be noted, religious hypocrisy is a precursor to fascism, which is why it was so natural for Christian MAGAs to go into that. Religious hypocrisy, my soul, my aura, I'm so special, I should do whatever I want and get things, and you should be my slave, right? Anyway, with all that said, I actually hate real oppression and real unfairness. Not you guys. You guys love that shit. You want to live at the top of a pyramid like a parasite. And you want to pretend you're so good and so moral. You call yourselves immortal. I'm actually a good person who hates real oppression. I am a self-sacrificial person and have been my whole fucking life pretty much. Um, I did labor that was super fucking hard, that has no fucking glory in society. I'm an intelligent person. I could have cleaned up, and I always say this, I could have cleaned up in America if I was evil. It's true. Um, I took pay cuts on my meager salary to help people more. But not you people. You people are like, I don't say these things and I put these things in my profile and that's why I shouldn't pay taxes. That's you. Economic oppression isn't real. You must be some kind of Nazi if you're a social democrat, like them calling Bernie Sanders a Nazi. These fuckers. Anyway, so yeah, the radical opposite of that is what's going on now with MAGA Part 2, where it is now okay to be bigoted. It's now okay to be a bigot. They're kind of making that because like, the billionaires are sticking their hands in the corpse of society and ripping out the organs. Like I just made a turkey. They're gutting the turkey of America, and you're on the menu. You don't know it, but you are. And that's why they're making all these fascist hate cults. Go rape nurses, go kill gardeners, whatever the fuck, right? And so they need to maximally create and enhance every bigotry at the bottom of society. And one genre I've been seeing a lot on my CIA tube algorithm is black people saying being racist is okay. This is the weirdest fucking genre I have ever seen. But they hire these like people. Look, I'm black, so if I'm saying it, it can't be bigoted. And you have people like Anton Daniels with a king crown. He looks a little bit like Kanye West. I don't know. Like this is like a whole hired right wing black guy look, where they shave their head bald and they grow a beard. They all got like the Kanye, like the white ones all dress like Mar-a-Lago. The black ones all try to look like Kanye apparently. So this is like a whole ass genre on CIA too. I'm a black dude saying it's okay to be racist, right? And it's so transparent. Like if you're not racist, you can see through their arguments. And I imagine somewhere there's racists like feeling good about themselves right now because like they'll say stuff like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sick of ghetto black people too." Like they're like, "Yeah, there's a problem in the black community. Like we're all stupid and low class and shitty, and you have black fatigue." And now I look at this like as a non-racist, I'm like, I can tell you, I'm white and I don't agree with you because I'm not a racist. Like, let me tell you, there are garbage people of every color. I showed you all white trash orc. Let me tell you, there's plenty of white trash orcs, right? There are trashy people who are black. There are smart, talented people who are black. If you're not a racist, if you're not a racist, you won't see black people and be like, oh, I have black fatigue. I hate you so much. You're a low class, stupid moron. You won't be thinking like that, right? What I mean to say is a non racist sees that black people are like any other people. Like some black people are smart and talented and decent, and some are trashy. Now, here's the thing, most people are garbage. I'm sorry. Most people, think about how 100 is the average IQ and half the population below that. Most people suck ass, right? This is reality. A percent of people are particularly intelligent and talented. And I don't see any difference among black people as white people with this. Okay, what? Black people are 13% of the population. You know what that means? That means out of 13 smart people you meet, I mean, 100 smart people you meet, 13 will be black. That sounds about right to me when I think about all the people I met in my life. Yeah, that sounds about right. And about 50% should be white. It's not because white people are smart, it's because they're the majority, right? Right? I mean, going by demographics, that should be the case, right? Sounds about right to me. Like when I think about everybody I met in my life. I don't understand this. Like, you gotta be a racist if you're watching this and you agree with it. Like, yeah, there is a problem with black people. They're garbage pails. They're stupid morons. They're a burden. And it's like, in order for you to take Anton Daniels' argument seriously, you have to either be a self-hating black person if you're black and you agree with it, or a racist if you're white. Because what you're basically saying is black people are unique in that um, most black people are exceptionally trashy and shitty, which is unlike other people. What is true is black people are disproportionately impoverished from the legacy of racism. Now, people who are poor tend to be like this, right? Meaning you're confusing a symptom of racial oppression that disproportionately more black people don't have education, that are low earning, and so have a poor culture. But if you look at poor white people, they're literally no different. The differences would be super superficial, like music you like, culture, how you dress. But in terms of like low class behavior, that's common to like all poor people. Um, it's not a black thing, as I can see. Um, yeah, I just look at it because like honestly, it's upsetting to me in the sense they're basically trying to make racists feel good about themselves. Like if you have these feelings, like you never see a black person you respect, and if you see a black person you think they're stupid and ghetto, shitty, and if you see a black person in a position of success, it's because they didn't deserve it. And if you see a poor black person, you think to yourself, racist shit, don't worry, I think that too, you're okay. Like, it's upsetting because it's like, no, it's not okay, right? But, this is everything the billionaires are doing. They're augmenting every bias and hate for everyone, right? And they want to make more racists, more intensely racist people, while at the same time, um, they go to minorities and tell them people like me should be raped and killed, right? And they're just disgusting. They're destroying the country. They're toppling society. It's very evident they want to do that. And they show me this shit in my algorithm. I just watch it like, no, I don't agree with you. Like, what the fuck is black fatigue? I don't agree with you. I have trash fatigue. Oh, I have so much trash fatigue because the billionaires send these orcs at me. They always have a spliff in their hand and they're ready to kill and rape. I have trash bin fatigue, but I don't have black fatigue because trash come in all colors, bro. Yeah, I have trashy. I have low class garbage uplifted and empowered by the billionaires fatigue. I don't have black fatigue. By that I mean I don't equate being a shitty person with being black, unlike you. If you're a racist, you equate shitty, trashy behavior with being black. And I imagine if you're racist, I know you guys think I'm a Nazi, but honestly, when I said all that shit when I was a kid, I was really mentally fucked up. I don't even remember like how I navigated. I just remember like being unable to leave the house for years, and I couldn't care about life. Like I literally, it was like I was just existing totally. Like I'm literally much happier now because my brain works fine. I'm just being attacked, but at the time my brain was out of commission. Right. Anyway, I can't imagine what it's like to be racist, but I imagine the way it works is when you see a successful black person, you automatically disrespect them. In your head, you're thinking like, you're an idiot, you don't deserve this, you're a DEI, you're thinking stuff like that. So that's why you don't ever see successful black people, because even when you see successful black people, they could be the best in their field. You don't see them and you think that they're a fraud. And then when you see trashy people who are black, you're like, this is all black people. And I imagine that's what it's like to be a racist, and that's how you get black fatigue, which is just like black fatigue is a new speak word for being racist. So you get black fatigue by just being racist. So if you when you see successful black people, all different types of black people, different classes of black people, like the higher the class, the more they don't deserve it, the more they're a fraud, the more they're you're thinking to yourself, the liberals gave you that position and you're incompetent because you're a racist, so that's what you're thinking. And then you see people below them who are like maybe higher achieving, and you increasing, the more they succeed, the more you're thinking you don't deserve it and you're incompetent. And then when you see very low black people who are trashy and poor, you think to yourself, that's the real black person. And so that's how you get black fatigue, aka racism, is by having a skewed perception of reality that matches your racist narrative. And that's why you're not seeing talented black people like there are talented white people. You're not seeing some people who are black who are trashy like there are some trashy white people. You're seeing the skewed racist narrative where everyone but the lowest black person doesn't deserve to be there and shouldn't be there. That's called racism. That's not black fatigue. Okay? The reason you're fatigued is you're going about life hateful. You're hateful. That's why you're fatigued. So you have a problem as a racist where you hate black people. So your fatigue is you think every black person is like the lowest gutter stereotype of a black person. That's the only real black person in your mind. That's their true natures. And when you see black people succeeding outside of that, you're not really seeing them. You're seeing like the libs sabotaging society. These people are incompetent. That's what you're saying. So that's why you're fatigued, because you're hateful. And hate, I imagine it's very exhausting to be hateful. I wonder how you people keep up raping and attacking me every night. That's so disgusting. You must be fatigued too. I guess that's why whenever I see you people, you're always like, and you're never smiling, you never look relaxed. It's gotta be hard to be hateful all the time. Like, even with everything done to me, I'm not hateful. I love my nieces, I love my animals. I have a lot of fun every day because I'm not hateful. Like, it's gotta be, I guess that's why you have fatigue, because you're hateful. And it's gotta be a bird. Like, imagine going through life and you're just like, ooh, this fucking N word is, you don't deserve to be a doctor. And that's just how you're going about your life. And then you see like a trashy black person, you're like, that's the real black person. And so then you go on YouTube and they're like, I'm black, my name's Anton Daniels, I dress like Kanye West, this is apparently the right-wing black guy costume. You have black fatigue, bro. I agree with you. I'm sick of all of us. And you're like, finally, I'm validated. It's like, you can fix your fatigue. Stop being racist. Start seeing people and just be like, some of you are garbage as fuck. A lot of people are garbage. I'm going to say that's true. Most people are garbage. So by definition, if most people are garbage, most black people are going to be garbage. Not because they're black, it's because most people suck ass. But there are way, way more white trash because there's more white people, right? So, there's some black people who are trashy and there's some white people who are trashy. And there's going to be more of them who are white. But I would say the reason there's an imbalance is from the legacy of racism. More black people are impoverished. If you would educate yourself, I mean, I know you're fatigued from being racist, but if you educate yourself about something called Jim Crow, I'm going to get woke on you for a second, okay? Woke. 80% of black Americans lived in the South. During the Industrial Revolution, places like Chicago offered economic opportunity to Black Americans. Now, there were some Black Americans who could migrate north earlier than that. Places like Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where my family's from, because they were truly equal. They could build businesses, they could build communities, and they could gain wealth. And Harrisburg is 50% Black, and it's a decent town. They make you think every Black place is a shithole, but there's a complex backstory that they hide from you why that is. It's called oppression, right? So, anyway, most Black Americans were not fortunate enough to be able to migrate out of the South earlier, right? But then when like the Industrial Revolution started kicking off, and these places like Detroit, Chicago, manufacturing hubs, a lot more Black people started migrating out of the South for opportunity in the North while Jim Crow was going on. And in case you don't know what Jim Crow is, it's a series of laws because the industrialist Northerners after the Civil War conspired to keep the old leaders in power to stagnate the South so they wouldn't have economic competition. So the South is a spot where slavery's over, but the industrial Northerners literally deliberately conspired to leave their people in power so they couldn't modernize. They couldn't compete in industry. And it was like they were just stuck in time, getting poor, policing water fountains and shit. Don't kid yourself. They did that shit on purpose, okay? Some of the people fighting the Civil War were ethical abolitionists, like my family, not the leaders of the Republican Party, the industry leaders. Even then, they were evil. And they only cared, that element of the Union only cared about crushing the planters in the South to have more control of the federal government to favor the Northern Union states. They didn't want the South becoming industrial and liberal. They wanted to keep them in their shithole box, but no longer any economic power through slavery and no more expanding. They wanted the reason the North took over entirely and the South never could catch up is because of the decisions made then. And don't kid yourself, they did all that shit. There was a prominent section of like people who were against slavery and wanted complete equality, but they didn't want that. They wanted to keep those people in power to make amends. They didn't want to make amends. They wanted to keep them in a stagnating box where they couldn't economically compete. So keeping their fucking leaders in power and keeping that shit going would stop them from shifting toward the way they were going. So they would remain supreme, these atheist industry leaders of the North, and they would have complete political control of the Union to favor them and their businesses. That's what that was about. And so that's how we got Jim Crow, is by the leaders of the South still being a bunch of freakish racists who didn't think Black people were human. And they made all these laws to basically like ostracize them from society, to prevent them gaining economic power, education, anything, right? And they would like raid their towns and burn them down and shit like that would happen. And that shit lasted until 1960. Now imagine 80% of Black Americans stuck in that environment, with 20% able to migrate north at the time. And they're dealing with that. They can't gain any power. And you're wondering why, despite being 13% of the population, proportionately, way more than 13% of Black people are impoverished. That's why, right? So that's why you'd see more disproportionately poor behavior from Black people, is because of the legacy of racism. Yeah, but if you have fatigue because you're racist, and it must be exhausting to be hateful all the time. You know, it's easier to tell yourself they're bad people, right? Yeah. So I was saying, and then when the Industrial Revolution started kicking off, and these places like Detroit and Chicago became economic centers of opportunity for Black people stuck in the South to escape Jim Crow and get opportunity, there was mass migration to the North, these centers, and then some came back. It's just like immigrants to America itself, like the Italian immigrant wave in 1900. 80% of like a huge percent of Italians that came here were just here to work and they went back home. It was the same with a lot of Black Americans migrating to the North. Some stayed, but some went back. And Black Americans started to gain wealth at this time in these economic hubs. And then outsourcing, bro. Then you got the Rust Belt and all that economic opportunity dried up. And now it becomes a center of poverty again. That's what happened. Okay. So you have the South where white chuds arrested in time since 1860 because of the conspiracy of the atheist Illuminati industrial North to keep them there, are fucking destroying Black people where 80% of them live. And then you have the North, right? Where there's hubs of opportunity and openness and the Industrial Revolution boom. And so you have blacks migrating from the South to these places, gaining wealth, and wealth is real power and equality. Um, but then, the like, Illuminati strikes again, the atheist Republican Illuminati strikes again, and they cause the Rust Belt. So now those places become pits of desperation and hopelessness because all the opportunity in manufacturing goes away. And that's how you get inner city poverty in these places like Chicago and Detroit. And then the atheist Illuminati strikes again. In the 90s, they start pushing drug and crime culture to the youth. Because, they just made for profit prisons, so they need to make it cool to do crimes. And, like, the natural crime that's occurring in these places of poverty, make it cool, make it so like every kid wants to go to jail before they're 21, right? And then they strike again. But these are your heroes. No, I'm your enemy. These are your heroes. These people who have completely destroyed and enslaved more than anyone, the atheist Illuminati capital elites have harmed black people and continue to harm them to this fucking day. But you think I'm the enemy, and I have to pay for being mentally ill at 15 to 19. Anyway, yeah, so that's actually what happened. And that's why today in America, there's disproportionately impoverished black people. Because, imagine your family couldn't do shit till 1964 or something. Like, come on now. You wouldn't be doing too well. Even in my family, my dad was an orphan, right? He came from shit, but he was born in Kearney. He was born in Newark and Kearney area. And he was fortunate enough to get a job as a security guard with benefits back when stuff like that was was there to boomers, you know? And we were poor as dirt, right? Our family has a track like an oppressed person, even though we're white, because my dad was so fucking poor from having two mentally ill parents, right? He grew up in an orphanage, right? So now imagine most of a group in America is like that. Of course, more of them are going to be poor, right? This is completely unlike your average white American where they didn't face that shit quite as much, obviously. And there will be more wealth and more education because there's more opportunity. Ugh. So yeah, I'm going off tangent, but this new genre on CA to where they encourage racists to reframe racism as black fatigue and they're ignorant as shit. And instead of them correctly diagnosing what you're calling black fatigue is bias and hate, you're wrong. You shouldn't be feeling that way. There are logical explanations why you only see low class black people in that one, you're racist. So when you see high achieving black people, you think they don't deserve in their DEIs. So that's why you're only seeing low class people who are black. Those are the real black person in your mind. And that's called being racist. And also the fact that black people are a minority, but relatively more of them are impoverished. That's more likely to have low class culture. That again is from racism. You should research the history of Jim Crow and blacks in this country. You do it a lot, just a high school level would help you out. And then when you understand those things, you'll realize, oh, I don't have black fatigue. I'm ignorant and racist. And hopefully you'll stop being that way. And then you won't feel any fatigue. You might wake up and realize, but you probably won't, because like I've always said this, like you have to be stupid to be racist, because if you're smart, you can tell that there are intelligent people are proportionate to their group because it's rare to be intelligent. And if you're intelligent, you could see other intelligent people. And you won't see this like only white people are intelligent. Like you have to be stupid to think that. Because what that's telling me is whether a white person's dumb as shit or intelligent, you're just calling being white and like you intelligent. That's what that's telling me. Because there's no fucking way you can walk away with that opinion, especially given in America, a country of immigrants, and we select for skilled work, proportionately more of our Asian immigrants and Indian immigrants are disproportionately intelligent, talented people, simply because of the nature of immigration policies. We select the best and the brightest to come here, work for us, to gain wealth. Right? So if you're saying like only white people are intelligent, that's telling me you're dumb as shit. Because one, you should be clocking that the segment of skilled work immigrants are disproportionately intelligent as a group, because that's the nature of immigration in America. And it's also telling me when you see intelligent black people, you don't see it. And you're like, you're a DEI, you don't deserve to be there. And that's probably what you're thinking. And then when you see, that's the realest black man, that's probably how you're going about your life. And you're calling that black fatigue. Yeah. So if you educate yourself and stop being so fucking stupid, you probably won't be feeling this fatigue anymore, and you'd realize most people are dumb as shit. If anything, in America, proportionately more non-white people are intelligent, simply because of the nature of immigration policies to prioritize like surgeons, doctors, lawyers, and engineers and shit. And those people are going to be smarter than the average in their society. So by definition, they're going to be smarter than the average of our society, people just have been born here, right? So you're not seeing that, and you're also not seeing that there's a lot of talented, intelligent black people, about proportionate, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but CIA tube, disgusting. The elites are disgusting. The Illuminati's disgusting. All of you people suck dick are self-hating and disgusting. I'm gonna make a video later about how they want to destroy family and religion simply because they are terrified of anything that leads to the ability to control with money. And family as well as religion are competing belief systems. Like the Illuminati one place from reading this, your family sucks. Don't go and see them on holidays. But punch your sister in the face for being MAGA. Like they promote that. But let me tell you something. All you people who think your friends are real, they can pay anyone to attack me and slander me. I don't deserve this. They can pay anyone to say that, but not my family. My family, they have to gaslight me because they know if they went to them and said, I'll give you $1 million to let us torture your sister to death, they wouldn't do it. And they think it hurts me that my family thinks I'm crazy. All that's telling me is, unlike someone like Virginia Giuffre Roberts, my family loved me. And I have a good family. And they know they can't use their money to control. That's why they want to destroy the family, because money will bounce off family. Right? The only way they can get family to kill family is some shit like, I'll kill your kid if you don't kill your sister. They do some shit like that. But randos, these people who are friends at Friendsgiving, all they have to do is be like, this person sucks. I heard they suck. You want $100,000 to kill them? Watch how fast they turn on you. Family will not do that. And that's why they have to make me look crazy to them, because of the fact money cannot get through family, right? If you have a real family, if you're someone like Virginia Roberts, Virginia Giuffre, you never had a real family. That's why I say all these people joining in this, like, I smoked a bowl and watched porn on Thanksgiving was way better. Yeah, me too. It's like, unless these people are in like the 1 out of 10 bracket, like Virginia Giuffre, where they really have an evil family, they don't have a real family. They have somebody who has their genes, but they're monsters. Unless you're someone like that and you're unfortunate to never have most of you have a real family. Most of you have people where the Illuminati cannot control them with money to hurt you. But let me tell you, all these people who are your friends who have your back, they turn on you so fast. I always laugh when these Illuminati dick suckers are like, my friends support me. It's like, you don't have friends. You're in a mafia. You have co-conspirators. You have co-criminals. And just like that scene in Goodfellas where Tommy turns around and says, do I make you fucking laugh? And for a moment there, Henry Hill is afraid he's going to die. They were friends 1 minute, the next minute he's looking at him like, are you going to kill me? That's what criminals have. They have partners for now. You don't have real friends if your friendship's based on what you can do for me, how much power you have, and your status and shit, where you have to fear if something goes wrong and they slander your name, they'll help kill you. That's not a friend. You guys have mafia co-conspirators, right? And that's why that scene in Goodfellas is so viral because it's highlighting to regular people. No matter how chummy they are, no matter how they seem to be a unit, the wise guys, they're really not apart. They're isolated. They're all in their own little bubble. And on a dime, they could be ready to kill each other. And you see that at the end as Henry Hill, his whole mafia family tries to murder him, right? That's like the Illuminati. You don't have friends. You have that. You have a mafia. You have people where you laugh at the gangster club and you feel higher than God, but you know on a dime, somebody slanders your name, doesn't like how you trade those stocks, you're dead, right? That's not how real family works, unless you're in that unfortunate bracket of people like Virginia Roberts, where you were born monsters. That's not. Most of you just have corny parents, corny relatives, but they love you and they won't take money to hurt you. And the Illuminati can't control them. And that's why the Illuminati wants to destroy family. Because when people don't have family and they're like, my friends at Friendsgiving, and they have that instead, when they have a perfectly good family who wouldn't hurt them and they can't be bribed to hurt you, that makes it so much easier for them to control people. You just have a loose network of people you think you're friends with, but they can be controlled with money to turn against you. And that's what the Illuminati wants. They want everyone controlled with money. They have no value but money. There's no family, there's no spirituality, just money, right? They pretend they're atheists from enlightenment. They're atheists from being slave owners. Their money is God, and that's what they serve and live for, money and power. So any competing value set like family or a faith is toxic to them, like the wicked witch melting underwater. Because if you can't do shit for money, then you can't listen to them, right? They're left with threatening you versus paying you off. They always prefer to pay you off. They always prefer to do it the wise guy way, like the bartender gets 100 for keeping the ice cold. That's how they prefer to control. Threats are their second option, just like any mafia, because threats are messy. If everyone around you likes you because you pay them off, that's the easiest. The soft power, that's the easiest way. Money bribes. That's how you really run a criminal syndicate. Using you, even though I'm evil, you like me because I give you shit. And that's why mobsters do that. That's why the mobster club is always throwing money in everyone's hands. So that those people know you're murderers, you steal, you lie, you manipulate, you human traffic, but I'm getting $100. And that's why the Illuminati always prefers to break you down so you can be paid. And if society has strong families and religions, they're powerless. It's way harder for them to do what they got to do. There's going to be people who don't want the money, and then they have to be threatened, and that's way messier. They threaten second, bribe first, and they want it so that they only have to go to that option of threat. They want everyone so broken down and empty. All they want is money. And this way, they don't have to ever worry about people not taking the bribe. Yeah, so I want to say that as well. These people aren't atheists from enlightenment. They're atheists from having a pathological sick obsession with money and power. And they want people to have no other values but money. So this way they never have to default to their secondary option as a mafia, which is threats. They always prefer to go the first route, bribes. Because if you control in soft power positive vibes, even though I'm a garbage pail, I'm giving you shit, then you never have to get messy, right? Yeah.